guys.
How do you know him?
Hi. Good afternoon. I'm Mindy Kaling. I'm going to be the moderator for the Global Press Conference. Yeah, I'm just really excited to introduce everyone for this panel. The first person is J.J. Abrams, director, producer, co-writer of the movie. Daisy Ridley, who plays Rey. Right here, JJ, on my massive white sofa. Come sit.
Hello, hi.
This is Daisy Ridley.
Hi. Daisy Ridley.
Adam Driver, who plays Kylo Ren.
Driver.
Lupita Nyong'o plays Maz Kanata.
Yes, Lupita.
Carrie Fisher,
What?
who plays Leia, and Lawrence Kasdan, who's the screenwriter.
And Lawrence Kasdan. Where is Lawrence Kasdan?
Okay.
There's like
No, here's Lawrence Kasdan.
Where?
Hello.
Hi. This will be
Yeah,
for
I think we
Carrie.
should sit down.
Agreed. Where's Carrie?
She's coming.
Oh, where is Carrie? She's coming.
I'm the last one now when I was the first one.
I was just going to start. My name is Mindy Kaling, and I know when you think of me, the first thing you think of is a huge Star Wars fan. But I actually am a Star Wars fan because Star Wars is it's a movie, a series of movies. Like, Carrie, come here, please. She needs some convincing.
Here, right here. Sure, right next to you. Before and after.
Oh, Carrie Fisher. Carrie Fisher.
Well, I was just saying the reason I love Star Wars is that I think it defines genres. I think that parts of it are better than any romantic comedy you could watch. It's an action movie, it's a buddy movie, there's interspecies friendships. In fact, it's everything except those boxing movies that come out every holiday season. It really has everything. And I thought I would just tell you guys a little bit more about it. I'm here to run this press conference for a movie that needs no introduction, but I love to talk, so I am going to say a little bit more. On May 27th, 1977, George Lucas's Star Wars opened in US theaters. No one could have predicted the huge impact the imaginative movie would have on people, not just on audiences of the time, but generations to come. The film went on to garner 10 Academy Award nominations, spawn the birth of the visual effects industry, and rewrite the future of filmmaking and filmmakers. The Force Awakens begins a whole new chapter in this storied saga. Good luck, JJ. And while doing research on this, I saw every interview that these guys have done, and I talked to JJ, and I didn't want to ask them any questions that you could just Google the answers for. For instance, if you asked Daisy Ridley how she felt when she was cast, she's going to say, very excited. So I thought I would ask them questions that I've never heard.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, Adam Driver, you were like, never seen them, not a fan, which I thought was pretty edgy. Okay, never mind. So, JJ, I thought I would start by asking you the question I think everyone wants to ask you, which is, aren't you rich? Why did you want to do these movies? Don't you have a hot wife who doesn't need you to be in Abu Dhabi for 4 months at a time?
You want to borrow money from him or something?
I need $50,000 for an invention. I'll talk to you about it later, but
An app.
you know.
Here's the thing. This is a project that I felt incredibly lucky to be asked to be a part of. And I think I speak for all of us, except for maybe Harrison, when I say this was not a job. I'm kidding. Harrison, was unbelievable. But the process of this movie, to a person on the crew, to a person on the cast, this was not a job, and it was nothing that I think any one of us took on because it was a gig that was available. It was something that felt like a true passion and something that every single person brought much more than any of us could have expected. And so I do honestly feel honored to be part of this group.
Excellent. Who was the most difficult actor to work with? I have a guess in my mind who it is. I'm curious what your answer is.
Well, it was definitely whomever's not on this couch.
Got it. Oscar Isaac.
Definitely Oscar. No. It was everyone was shockingly and eerily wonderful to work with, and to get to work with people like Carrie and Harrison and Mark and people who I was a fan of since I was 11 years old, and also actors like Lupita and Daisy and Adam and John. It was so much fun to see them work together and to see how that alchemy came out, and it was really a spectacular and fun thing every day on set.
That's a great answer. Carrie, I have a question for you. I'm a big fan of your writing. I love Postcards from the Edge. You coined one of my favorite lines ever, which is, "Do you always speak in bumper sticker?" And I've seen a lot of interviews with you. And
Do
one
I
thing I can
speak in
say
bumper
for
sticker?
I'm sorry.
Okay, never mind.
One thing I can say about you is that you do not speak in bumper sticker. And I think it's because you get asked a lot of stupid questions.
No, that's silly.
And I was going to ask you, you have an amazing sense of humor. Do you think that Princess Leia has a good sense of humor?
She would have to. Wearing those hair pieces. And, well, you should know that.
This is all someone else's hair.
Okay.
So,
Then you don't know.
Adam, Kylo Ren looks hilarious and normal. Again, I have not seen the movie, but in all seriousness, he seems very focused and obsessed. And in my mind, he's like Robert De Niro's character in King of Comedy. Is any of this even approximating the truth? Again, I've not seen the movie. If so, I'm a genius. If not, then what is he like?
Kylo Ren, Rupert Pupkin is what you're
Is he
asking.
Rupert Pumpkin? And Lawrence, you can answer this question too.
Yeah, he makes a lot of videos for his mom.
It makes a lot of videos for his mom lives in
Yeah.
his basement.
He's a great cook. You know, he's a Scorpio. I think he's very unpolished and unfinished, and I think what JJ and Larry did, keeping all the vocabulary that everyone's very familiar with of Star Wars and the dark side, and keeping that very much intact, but also adding a kind of recklessness or something that's kind of unneat about it that I think people normally associate with the dark side being organized and very, in control and calm and in command.
I think of the dark side as extremely organized.
Right.
Extremely organized in a very evil way.
Yeah.
Is that something that you've continued?
Well, Larry, if you want to speak to this, but one of our thoughts was to try and do something that felt a little bit different in that regard.
Yes. And that's why we were so excited about Adam playing this part, because there's never been a character like Kylo in the saga. And no, he hasn't got his shit all together, I would say. And Adam acts it so beautifully, because what you're looking at is, you expect this is some evil genius, but what you're getting is all the contradictions and the conflict that people feel. Any one of us can feel at any moment. That's what's so amazing about it, and I think that's what's unique about what Adam has done.
Lupita, you play a former space pirate who now runs a bar. I'm wondering, this seems sort of, to me, like a female Sam Malone from the American TV show Cheers. Does that mean that Yoda is Norm? You might not know this. I was just going to say, could you talk about your relationship with Yoda? And is it convivial? Sexual. Carrie, just tell her a little bit about the show Cheers.
Sexual, I said. Sexual.
Sexual, okay.
He was my first love. No.
That's a movie I would like to see.
Yeah, that's a good movie too. Ideas for Disney. Yeah. What?
The question was, can you talk a little bit about your character's relationship with Yoda, which is something I like to. Can she?
No.
Well, I will say this,
No, okay.
that in an attempt to save my friend Lupita
Okay.
from this slightly
Idiotic
awesomely geeky question, which is that I do believe that Maz and Yoda at one point had crossed paths, but that is not something, of course, due to the events of past films, happens in this one.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
What do you say?
Yeah.
Exactly.
You recently were in a play in New York City, and I'm wondering what the experience was acting with other actors versus what I can only imagine in this was at sometimes a very solitary experience shooting this movie. And
Well, yeah. Fortunately for me, JJ had me be a part of principal photography. So my very first experience of motion capture was on the actual sets with the actual actors. So I am eternally grateful to him for giving me that because it was a great way to get into this wonderful, crazy thing called motion capture. I got to be on those sets and see those things and feel them. And the art direction in this, there's so much detail, even when you're standing on that set, it's mesmerizing. And I think audiences are going to be, they're going to have a very immersive experience, much like we had filming it. And so it was good to have that, and the physicality is something that then carries on into theater for sure. And that was the thing that attracted me to the idea of playing motion capture, the idea of working on a character that wasn't limited by my physical circumstances, and I could work with my body in new ways, and I've continued that onto the stage.
If I can just say one thing that Lupita would not, which is that she was remarkably tireless and willing to experiment with different versions of this character. And it was kind of an amazing thing to discover over various iterations of Maz, what she sounded like, how she moved. It was really, I've never been through this before with an actor where we got to discover again and again and again kind of how to better tell the story we were telling. And it was just, I always felt guilty every time we started up another session, we did some reshoots, we did some work, and every single time Lupita was willing and game and deeply committed and into finding Maz Kanata's voice, and I'm just eternally grateful.
Thank you, JJ.
It's confirmed something I came into this thinking, which is that Lupita Nyong'o is a good actress.
I was shocked to discover she's a spectacular actress. It never crossed my mind.
Daisy, I know we have questions from everyone here, but I have a question for you, which is athletes have a walk-up song, which is when they're entering an arena, they have a song that they've chosen to like pumps them up and expresses who they are. Ronda Rousey's is Joan Jett's song Bad Reputation. And I was wondering what your character's walk-up song might be.
I actually have one.
Oh, I'm so excited.
And not to advertise Disney anymore, but it's Mulan, I'll Make a Man Out of You.
I'll Make a Man Out of You is your walk-up song?
Yeah, I used to play it in the trailer before I went on.
Can we hear a little bit of it?
Oh my gosh. Mr. I'll make a man out of you. It's iconic, guys.
So I think we should open up the questions. I have more, but I'll pop in inappropriately.
Yeah, please.
Okay. You, sir, with the glasses.
Okay, guys. Thank you for letting me come to this. My question is for Mr. J.J. Abrams. What was the most important thing to bring to The Force Awakens from the original trilogy to you?
When Kathy Kennedy and Larry and I started talking about what this was at the very beginning, the fundamental question was, what did we want to feel? And what did we want people to feel when they came to this movie? And that was really the beginning of the discussion. And the answer was the kind of sense of discovery, exhilaration, surprise, the comedy that George Lucas put into Star Wars kind of was, for me, the thing that made me love the movie. But when you look at all the things that he got right, it's impossible and stunning. And so for us, at the very beginning, it was really about knowing why we were telling this story. And it was to give people that sense of possibility and magic that we all felt when we first saw the original Star Wars. But I will just say that this is all to tell a new story, meaning it's not a nostalgia trip. We had to go backwards in order to go forwards. And if you look at 4, 5, and 6, those are stories that continue. This is 7. So the history of 7 will be what we've seen before. So the fabric needed to be that we are familiar with in order to tell a brand new story. Thank you.
Great. Hi, go ahead.
Hi. So this question is for Carrie and Daisy. Can you talk a little bit about bringing out the girl power in the original trilogy and also The Force Awakens?
No. Daisy?
Sorry?
No, you began this whole thing.
I am the beginning of girl power.
Yes.
Deal with it! No, I got to be the only girl on the all-boys set, which was really fun, you know, to put things in their drinks and stuff like that. We drank through the whole trilogy in the beginning. This was a sober set, so that's what JJ brought to this, was sobriety. Girl power, she's more powerful in the girl power. Yes, I'm louder than you. So she takes on the physical power, and then I scream at them until they pass out. Not scream, I make fun of them. You know, that was what was really fun about doing anything that girl power-esque, is bossing men around. I know a lot of you women out there haven't done that yet, and I encourage you to do so later this afternoon.
Over there. Okay.
Would Daisy get to answer it? No?
Oh wait, Daisy, please. Sorry.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, God. Well, obviously, Princess Leia and Carrie is a source of inspiration for girls for the past 30 years. And I'm definitely not quite there yet, but I hope Rey will be something of a girl power figure. And I think with writing like JJ and Larry's, and with a story of which she is woven into richly and holds an important role, I guess there's no other way except to say that she will have some impact in a girl powery way. I'm so not eloquent, sorry. She's brave and she's vulnerable and she's so nuanced. That's what's so exciting playing a role like this. She doesn't have to be one thing to embody a woman in a film. And for me, she's not important because she's a woman. She's just important. It just so happens that she's a woman. Like, she transcends gender. She's going to speak to men and women. But obviously, we were started with Leia, and Leia's still there kicking ass. We got Maz kicking ass too. So it's wonderful to be part of, obviously with Kathy at the helm as well, a wonderful crew and cast of wonderful women.
Hi. I was going to say, Carrie, you were my first role model when I saw it at 7 over here.
Oh, I'm your first role model?
That's what I most drew upon. Anyway, for JJ, you're usually very secretive around your films. Was it heart-wrenching for you to let go of some of the footage in the film?
No. The contrary, actually. It was something that while we were working on the movie, I realized how engaged with the fans and forthcoming Lucasfilm had always been. And my nature, which is to keep things quiet, was something that I was certain we were going to have fights about, and my wanting to keep the audience surprised when they went to see the movie. But Disney, to my shock, was arguing to not ruin, not reveal, not show every story beat. And we've all seen trailers for films that literally show you the movie in Cliff's Notes form, and then you go to see the film and you're like, yeah, that was literally the movie. I saw it in a 2-minute, 10-second piece. So I was very grateful that Disney actually took the lead on trying to keep things quieter. And obviously I ask all of you, who we are incredibly grateful for your being here, that when you do see the movie and hopefully talk about it to your fans and readers and stuff, that we maintain some level of surprise for people who get to see the movie and don't have it ruined for them just because it's finally been released, which I cannot wait for, by the way.
It's such a special film because my husband forbid me to see the film by myself Because he said it's an experience that we have to experience together because we're both Star Wars fans.
Yeah, but listening to Carrie, you should just boss him around and tell him you'll do what you want.
I'll try that, but that works. But I just wanted to know from the cast members, do you have family members or friends or probably, I've heard from other people similar stories that they're forbidden to see the movie without them. So I think it's really funny that people are putting these pressures on people for this particular
We're
movie.
forbidden to see the movie without our parents? Is that your question?
No, it wouldn't be fair to see the movie without him because it has to be an experience we have to do together.
Yeah, I find that it's really a family experience. I've had people over the years come up, I'm showing this to my child at, I didn't want to wait till they were 6, so I went with 5. And you watch your children watch the movie and you learn something about your children. And will we like the same characters? And Halloween becomes kind of more of a Thanksgiving experience without the turkey. But you see all these pictures of entire families dressed as the characters, and I find that so moving, sorry. But I do, it's just an amazingly emotional movie.
Question over here.
Hey there, I'm Rich Woloski from Skywalking Through Neverland. I'd like to know from each of you what was the scariest moment on your very first day of production, or what was the scariest scene to write from Mr. Kasdan?
I don't associate the process with fear. JJ and I jumped into the thing under a lot of time pressure, and we had fun. And in fact, the first day that we started real work on it, we said, we must have fun with this every day. It's really a privilege, and you have to be very lucky to get to write the next Star Wars. And so we didn't really have fear. I think we had trepidation about fulfilling people's expectations, that they be satisfied with what we came out with. But we didn't want them to know what we were going to come up with, and we wanted that this moment that's coming up next week would be a fresh moment for as many people in the world who were interested in it. So the only pressure is, can you do something that's worth that much anticipation? I think.
Thank you. How about from each of you from the cast? What was the scariest moment that first day of your first day of production?
Bad memory. Not remembering my lines. That was scary. No, and I also, I'm the custodian of Princess Leia, so I never got out of character, and I wondered if that would be noticed. No, but I was very nervous. It's been, 40 years for other people. No, it's been a long time. And I don't like looking at myself at this age in a large way. So that was scary and remains so.
This question,
Are we going through? Lupita, please.
For me, it was playing a motion capture character. This was something completely new to me. And walking into a room, I had to do this thing where they had to take my picture from all directions at one time. And I had to stand in the middle, and there was 360 cameras all around me. And that freaked me out.
I don't know. I guess I'm kind of terrified before most jobs. So the prospect of this, the Star Wars and all the kind of iconography associated with it, I tried to not think about as much as possible. So maybe when it first started, and then kind of suppressing that as much as possible and trying to break it up into moments, and then that way. But I don't remember one thing in particular that seemed particularly terrifying.
My whole first day was pretty terrifying. I couldn't find a moment that was any less or more than the other. I think for me it's being cast in a role, as everyone knows, I've not really done much before. So other people saw something in me that perhaps I didn't see myself, and I'm still not quite sure if it's there. So the fear of not fulfilling that potential was terrifying.
Just listening to what Lupita was saying, it just reminded me, people have said to me, I don't understand, you cast someone so beautiful as Lupita, and then you had her be a motion capture character, and I think, would it be okay if she were ugly? Like, what, Anyway, I cannot wait for you to see the work that everyone on this couch has done in the movie. The scariest day for me was when Harrison Ford was injured, which was just absolutely hideous. But the every day felt like there were challenges because I knew how important this was to so many people, and that was never a presence that went away. And so every decision I knew had this importance, and yet we had a day to make, we had a story to tell, and it was always about trying to do the best work possible. Thank you.
Andy Howell, Science vs. Cinema, and Ain't It Cool News. This question is for J.J. Abrams. Since the original trilogy, we've sent probes to lots of the planets in our solar system, and we've discovered hundreds of new extrasolar planets. Did any thing we've learned from science make its way into the design of planets in this movie?
No.
What about math? Math? Anything from, English?
You take that question. You go for
Okay,
it.
yeah. No.
Question here. Hi, Asif Kamashak News. JJ, since you two were really the brainchilds behind the story, how much did you guys look at the extended universe and the extremely large canon of books that have been written around the Star Wars universe when you decided to make this? Or was it more looking at Return of the Jedi and just figuring out how you guys feel it should have gone?
Hey, you want to take it?
I think it had more to do with Jedi and the continuation of 4, 5, and 6. This is 7. I think we were aware, we're respectful of the canon, but we really wanted to tell a story that interested us and delighted us, and we didn't really want any rules and parameters particularly. We just said, well, we can do anything we want with this story. What would be the most fun thing to do on this page and the next page and the page after that? And that was sort of the guiding principle, I think, more than the canon or anything that had come before.
All the way over here in the front. Well, for the cast, many of us has been thinking about what happened after Return of the Jedi for the past 32 years. Did all of you have those questions, and when you got to finally answer them, did it live up to or surprise your expectations?
I didn't understand the question.
I wasn't a huge fan of the whole thing. I'd seen them and I had kind of interest, but I missed the Star Wars boat as it was. So I didn't wonder that so much. But even so, it was very exciting finding out what did come after Jedi.
Yeah, I would say that that it's still called Star Wars for me was really, and that sounds, but it's in a way it's 30 years later, but the exact same things are going on in a way, which I thought was so telling of, so true to life that even though I feel that's we have such short memories of huge, events and mass genocide, and then we kind of forget about it, it seems, and there's still the same people are in charge, and the same group of people, younger, older, everyone comes on and feel that their problems are unique, and then it's all a cyclical thing, and it seems like finding these people, and a lot of things have changed, like the setting, but really the circumstances are the same, I felt was very true, and that for me was what I took less plot points and like, oh, I always knew that, Leia would be doing this or Solo would be doing this, more like nothing really changes. That answered your question.
Yes. Question here?
Hi, guys. This is for JJ and Lawrence. The names of the characters have always been really unique in Star Wars. What's the process that you guys use to come up with new ones, and did you use any that were left over from Mr. George Lucas?
I don't know if there were any left over. I think the criteria was, did we like it? That was it. Really tough criteria. Did it sound good to say it? Did it feel good to type it?
Yep.
And don't you think?
Yeah, and a lot of names came and went and some names stuck. And I remember when we put down BB-8, it was a name that it was the first and only name that droid ever had, but we called him BB-8, and we still do. Rey and Finn and Poe went through many iterations. Kylo Ren was Kylo Ren fairly early on, and there was a sort of backstory. And Maz Kanata, I think, was always Maz Kanata. So and we changed Leia's name. No, we didn't really do it.
My name is a product of spell check.
Hi, this question is for JJ. Are there Ewoks in the movie? That's all I want to know. All I want to know is, are there Ewoks?
Living?
Living.
Listen, if a man can't joke with friends. No, there are no Ewoks in this film, but you'll find
That you're aware of.
That's right. There were rumors that some snuck onto set, but there are a lot of them in Return of the Jedi. I think Mindy, you might have a question.
I have some more questions. Lawrence, this is a question for you.
Yeah.
As a writer, I find I get a lot of inspiration from movies that have nothing to do with what I'm writing about. I always look to the movie The Fugitive, Ridley, because I just love the script. And I was wondering, and the answer just could be no, is there any movie that you looked to or thought about when you were writing this one that would surprise you?
All the movies of Akira Kurosawa have influenced me throughout my career. That's because he was sort of the Shakespeare of cinema. He did comedies, he did action films, he did Shakespearean drama, and all of life is contained in each one of his films. Seven Samurai, maybe the greatest film ever made, is, it's a personal drama, it's an action picture. So when JJ and I were working, we kept referring to that. And then we would talk about the great American movies that we loved and things that had influenced the first Star Wars, which was Howard Hawks and John Ford and, all the Flash Gordon. And because when George made A New Hope, he was influenced very much by Kurosawa and by Flash Gordon and by The Wizard of Oz. And I think that all those movies you can feel them in A New Hope, and everything that's in A New Hope has come down through the movies to this day, I think.
And JJ, you drew inspiration from the movie Clueless when you were talking about
Yes,
this.
that to me was the fundamental.
The relationship between those girls.
Yes, I don't like to talk about it.
Am I wrong?
For obvious,
I thought
no.
Okay.
You're absolutely right. It was Clueless. That was. It was
Let's
not
take
Clueless.
Let's take
That's
another.
a joke. Okay.
Question here.
Another question.
Hi, this question is for Adam. Star Wars has a legacy of really great antagonists. Can you talk about carrying that forward with Kylo Ren?
Well, I think a lot of it's not beyond my control, I would say. I feel like was so aware of the movies, and like my friends' kids now, they don't know anything they haven't seen the movies, but are somehow so aware of everything that happens. And I think that's how I was introduced to them, through like the merchandising and the toys and stormtrooper helmets and things like that. And so I feel like we tried to not think about that as much as possible. And then I remember early on we not think of him being bad or evil or a villain, and try to make something that was more three-dimensional, because that to me, when we were talking originally, seemed more dangerous and more unpredictable. Someone who feels morally justified in doing whatever they need to publicly kind of state that what they're doing is right seemed kind of something more active to play than just being evil for the sake of it. That's it's not really fun to play, I guess.
Adam, I was going to ask you, you've worked with two of my friends. One of them is Lena Dunham, and one of them is J.J. Abrams. Are they in any way similar?
Yeah, actually, in an amazing ability to compartmentalize, and I mean, they do this both in very different ways.
Sociopaths.
So they're both crazy. They're
Crazy.
both nuts. I think that I would imagine the weight of something like Star Wars. If it was me, I would go nuts. You know, having to be the kind of spearhead above it, and everyone's looking to you, asking you questions. And JJ was consistently calm and couldn't have been more collaborative. And I feel the same with Lena. I mean, much is made about how young she is, but just because you can't help but compare or imagine what you were doing at 22 or 23.
She's not
so
that young. She's like 28 or 29.
Yeah,
It's
now,
fine.
yeah.
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, like she's like
At
kind
the
of young,
time,
but
yeah.
like not like a wonderkin. She's not like Daisy. It's okay. Yeah. Thank you for answering that. Okay.
Hi, guys. I love to stay to the end of the credits of every movie, so I'm just wondering, is there an Easter egg or an extra scene at the end of this that we should look forward to?
No, there's not.
There will be now, though, right?
All the scenes are actually in the movie.
He likes to sit to the end of the credits to see if there's a scene at the end.
It's like outtakes.
I have a question about costumes. Okay, my first question is for J.J. Abrams. Which was the most difficult costume to put together? And then for each of the characters, I'd like to know how long it took you to get into costume.
So the costume that was the most challenging, I think, for us to arrive at, and Michael Kaplan, the costume designer, I cannot wait for you to see what he's done in this movie. There are so many cool, and many you have not seen at all, costumes that are extraordinary. The most difficult one was Kylo Ren, and we went through, I don't know how many hundreds and probably thousands of iterations and different versions. And one of the great things about that was, over the course of that, the costume for Captain Phasma was designed that was actually pitched as a Kylo Ren costume originally. And for story reasons, it didn't make sense and didn't work. But we suddenly realized, oh my God, this is one of the greatest looking costumes I've ever seen. And he, then she, became one of my favorite characters in the movie. But the design of Kylo Ren was the most difficult one. And when we finally saw the mask and the beginning of that design, it was really instantly clear that was the winner. And I'm very grateful to Michael and his whole amazing team. Was there a question about how long it took to get into the costume?
20 minutes? Does that seem long or short?
That's amazing.
Obviously, I had because putting the arms things on and everything takes a while, and the wraps and everything. Had a wonderful woman called Callie helping me.
I think the first time took like an hour and a half, and then we got it down to like 20 minutes, I think.
For me, it took about, well, my costume, I didn't have a costume because I was a motion capture character, but to get suited up took about, in the beginning, it took like 2.5 hours, maybe 3. And then by the end, we had it down to about an hour 15.
Lupita had dots on her teeth.
Yeah.
Like everywhere. She had dots all over the place, and it was, I actually, not until today have I met her without dots. It's fantastic.
I'm still finding them in things, like in shoes.
Larry?
I was ready like that. Show up, ready to go.
How long did it take to get into costume? About 10 minutes for the 20. I'm older and I do it faster. No, really, 20 minutes. I have a kind of classy gas station attendant look. That's not funny. So that doesn't take long to put on.
That's my favorite thing of a classy gas station.
Well, look at it. Or I could say I was an airplane repair person with a nice vest over that and different hair than most airplane mechanics would normally have. The end.
Last question.
There's been so much amazing publicity for this film, lots of hype and product tie-ins and SNL sketches and all kinds of stuff. And this weekend, Carrie's amazing interview on Good Morning America went viral. And that's been my favorite piece so far. So I wanted to ask if we can expect to see Gary as some kind of long-tongued alien in the film.
I wish, I begged JJ, and Gary was willing to sleep with JJ to get into this movie. And I mean nap, but still.
Yeah, that was the enticement.
That's why it didn't go forward.
And on that note, I think we have to bring up the second group of performers and actors. Guys, thank you so much. Thank you.
Good.
Thank you very much.
I mean, bad.
See you soon.
They're bringing Gary.
Thanks, everyone.